Filming for the highly anticipated sequel and conclusion to Denis Villeneuve's adaptation of Dune will soon be underway in the next few months. Before production begins, there have been several significant casting decisions that have recently been revealed, one of which includes Austin Butler playing Feyd Rautha of the villainous House Harkonnen. This role was famously taken on by Sting in David Lynch's 1984 film. The rumor of Butler's casting was initially revealed back in March, but since that time there has not been any information regarding his portrayal of the character until now. In this video, I'd like to discuss this newest revelation and what this reveals about what we can expect to see from Feyd Rautha in Dune Part 2. Spoiler warning, as I will be discussing some details involving key fight sequences from the novel. As Austin Butler promotes his upcoming Elvis biopic in which he plays the title role, a recent article from the New York Times not only reaffirmed the actor's casting as Feyd Rautha, but it also included a special note that Butler had just started intensive knife-fighting training for the role. So it appears that before filming begins around late summer, Austin Butler is busy preparing for his portrayal of the infamous antagonist of House Harkonnen. One unique aspect of Villeneuve's interpretation of Frank Herbert's novel that was confirmed shortly before the release of Dune Part 1 was that Feyd Rautha was not going to appear in the first movie. The filmmaker's reasoning was that there was enough characters for Part 1, and Villeneuve also felt that it would be more elegant to reserve Feyd's introduction for Part 2. In other recent interviews about the upcoming sequel, the director has assured how important the character of Feyd Rautha will be while teasing much more Harkonnen stuff for the next film. In the story of Dune, though the Baron Vladimir Harkonnen is the central antagonist, his nephew Feyd Rautha Rabban, as his chosen heir, is a main component of his quest for power. The Baron favors Feyd over his brother Glossu as he balances his ferocity and ruthless ambition with intelligence, charisma, and subtlety. He is a formidable warrior, and Austin Butler will have a lot of work to do to accurately portray Feyd Rautha's physicality and devious nature in battle. In regards to what we might see in Dune Part 2 as it relates to combat, Roger Yuan, actor and veteran fight coordinator who helped craft the various fighting styles for this adaptation, revealed some insider information in a past interview. Yuan not only worked to prep the actors for their prospective battle sequences, but he also had a small role in Dune Part 1 as Atreides soldier Lieutenant Lanville. Though his character makes only brief appearances in the first film, Villeneuve reportedly has some significant plans for him in the sequel. In his interview with KungFuKingdom.com, Yuan said that Denis wanted him to play a part in the first installment so that in the sequel his character would come back to duel Feyd Rautha. This particular scene that Yuan is referring to no doubt is the gladiatorial battle that takes place on the Harkonnen homeworld Gedi Prime on Feyd Rautha's 17th birthday. This holiday was also significant as it was to remind all Harkonnen subjects that Feyd Rautha was officially chosen as the Baron's heir designate, and to mark the occasion, it was arranged for his nephew to defeat his 100th slave gladiator in the family games. There are many nuances to this duel, as Feyd has conspired with the captured Atreides Mentat Thufir Hawat, and enters the battle knowing that his slave gladiator opponent will not be drugged as per usual. As a result, it was intended for the blame for such an egregious oversight to fall on the Harkonnen slave master, leaving an opening for someone loyal to Feyd Rautha to take his place. However, to his surprise, the opponent he ended up facing was no ordinary slave gladiator. Instead, he was a clear-minded Atreides soldier, a warrior trained by the best war masters and tacticians in the known universe. This opponent would no doubt be eager for the opportunity to exact revenge. Though the Atreides soldier isn't drugged, he has the disadvantage of a half-shield, and as an additional precaution, a key word had been implanted into his subconscious that, when spoken, would immobilize his muscles if the need arose. As if that wasn't enough, Feyd Rautha had one more trick up his sleeve that only he was aware of. According to tradition, the knife wielded in a white gloved hand would be laced with poison. However, Feyd had poisoned the knife in his other hand to throw off his opponent's strategy. Despite the obvious upper hand granted to Feyd, his previous matches had all been grossly one-sided. Now, facing a warrior that had been expertly trained leads to a tense battle that forces the Harkonnen heir to make use of every advantage in order to survive the encounter. The other significant fight scene involving Feyd Rautha is found in the final pages of the novel, after he challenges Paul Atreides in an act of canly, hoping to bring a swift end to Paul's bid to seize the Golden Lion throne. Feyd is described as physically fit, having heavy shoulders and thick muscles, which stands in contrast with Paul's slender yet muscular frame, indicative of his years of desert living. In this final fight, Feyd continues to rely on his secrets and tricks, but is cunning in how he deploys them in battle. However, this time, his opponent is unlike any he has faced before. During this confrontation, the difference between the two is even more apparent. Though Paul has his own advantages, unlike Feyd Rautha, he refuses to owe his victory to anyone else. In the novel, both matches detail Feyd's perspective and feature his internal thoughts, providing added insight into his character, his cunning, his ambition, and his drive to achieve victory by any means, while giving the appearance of fairness. Through these confrontations, the reader comes to a greater understanding of his character and how he stands in contrast to the Atreides heir. While Feyd is a willing participant in the Baron's schemes for power, it's apparent that he will cooperate with his uncle's plans so long as they align with his own selfish desires. I'm very interested to see how these battle sequences will be adapted in this visual medium. In regards to Feyd's gladiatorial battle against the Atreides soldier, his internal thoughts serve to set the stage, which makes me wonder if there will be added dialogue to help set up the nuances of the scene, or if it will simply be presented as a display of the Harkonnen heir's ruthlessness and lack of honor in combat, with the goal being to emphasize the difference between him and Paul Atreides. When it comes to how these intricate scenes from the book will be adapted, Javier Bardem, who plays Fremen leader Stilgar, offered some interesting insight. In a recent Q&A as part of the 75th Cannes Film Festival, when he was asked about Dune Part 2, he said, quote, "I've read the new draft, and I think they've done an amazing job of putting together the pieces in a way that is gonna surprise people. They won't be surprised by what happens, obviously because they've read the book, but they'll be surprised by the way they put it together. I was very moved by it. It's a movie that is full and you can feel the weight of it, and at the same time, you can enjoy the spectacularity of it." What I find especially intriguing is his remark that even book readers will be surprised, not by the events of the story itself, but by how the pieces of it are put together. From what we've seen from Dune, I think Denis Villeneuve will likely continue to focus on the core themes and elements which ultimately surround Paul Atreides. So it makes me think that the Harkonnen antagonists might be featured just enough so as to contribute in a significant way to Paul's story arc. We'll see how it all unfolds when Dune Part 2 releases next year. But I'm curious to know what you think about the fight choreography and battle sequences featured in Dune Part 1, and what you think this indicates of what we can expect to see in the sequel from actor Austin Butler's Feyd Rautha. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Dune and other sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.